Hey, what's up? It's Tati back with another review of a Dynamite. Now, this whole thing leading up to Dynamite Grand Slam has actually been a better build than going into All Out. And since All Out was a pretty solid pay-per-view, Tony Khan, I'm expecting a really solid show with Dynamite next week. Now, we did start it off with an international title on the line, Jon Moxley. I love saying that. Our champion versus Big Bill. We had Ricky Starks who was ringside. And for a quick second, I thought it was Saturday night. Now, they do have a really great match here. And like minutes into this match, Jon Moxley is leaking. It's almost as if he tells himself, just bleed, and then he just bleeds. And it's just like, this is just way too much. This is the opening match. There's no weapons. There's no nothing. Why are you leaking so much? It's insane. Now, we do have Ricky Starks, who actually does get physically involved by pushing Jon Moxley when he was standing on the top rope. And Jon Moxley ends up smashing his balls onto the ropes. So once that happened, here comes Bryan Danielson running to the ring to fight with Ricky, evening things out. And you know what? I'm here for it. I like this little feud that's going on here. Now, we do have Big Bill, who finally isn't doing squash matches, so I'm excited that we can actually see him doing more than just being in the ring for 2 seconds. And one thing that caught me off guard that just took me way back into a flashback was that Big Bill was doing a typical New York thing, getting into a fight wearing Timberland boots. And it reminded me of my first fight that I've ever had. That was back in middle school. I was wearing Timberland boots. That's the reason why I remember that. And I remember kicking her in the fucking stomach with those boots. And I was just like, damn, that gotta hurt. Now, with this particular fight here, this girl had gotten into so many fights with other girls throughout that whole school year. And I ended up being the very last person she ended up fighting with. And I told her the day before, when I see you, it's on site. Like, we really gonna get into it. And the next day I came to school. I came a few minutes late because my mom didn't want me to go to school. And I was like, Mom, whatever happens, she's going to fight me if I come tomorrow, if I come next week. So I went to school, and there she is. She sees me in the class. This day, we're actually having Regents exams, which is this is a big exams in New York or whatever. So when I walk into class, I look her dead in the eyes. She looks at me, and I drop my bag, and I'm like, we doing this, right? And the substitute teacher is like, no, no, no. And that's like, yes, yes, yes. And we ended up fighting. And it was absolutely insane. And I remember thinking, girl, you've been watching wrestling for years. This is finally time to put all that shit you've been seeing to good use. And that's what I did. I was just putting in work with everything that I've seen The Rock do, Austin do, all the girls and everything. So I was like, kind of excited, but a little nervous at the same time because it's my first fight. I remember grabbing her by the hair and smashing her head into this glass display case. And then that's when I realized that there were actually a crowd of people watching. Literally everybody got out their damn classrooms and were watching. And I was excited. Now, what made the whole thing even crazier is that while I'm fighting her, there are 3 girls on the side of us who is getting ready to jump in. And my best friend is one of them. And I'm thinking, oh, good, she's here just in case, you know, somebody try to jump in or whatever. Wrong. She was jumping in to beat me up with the other girls. And I could not believe it. She didn't get a chance to jump in or whatever because the teacher came and stopped the whole fight. But seeing Big Bill with those boots just took me back to that moment, like literally unlocked a memory that I absolutely forgot I even had. But since I'm getting sidetracked, let's get back to this match. So anyway, the match continues and the crowd is actually getting behind this. So it was a great opener. But then here we have Jon Moxley ends up winning this match via submission. And for whatever reason, probably from losing so much blood, this guy is tired out. So then Big Bill starts attacking him. And then outside the ring, we have Ricky and Bryan getting at it. And Ricky's putting the paws on Bryan. And so is Big Bill onto Moxley. So then Claudio Castagnoli comes out and he's helping make things a little bit better for BCC. And then Big Bill and Ricky retreats to the back. And you know what? BCC's looking super, super babyface here. I like it, but it's a little weird after everything that we've seen going on this year. But great opener, and I'm very curious to see where this whole storyline is going to go. This should be really helpful for people like Ricky Starks and Big Bill to work with some really established stars in AEW. So next we have Renee Paquette. She's backstage with Roderick Strong and the Kingdom. Roderick has a main event tonight with Samoa Joe. Winner faces MJF at Grand Slam. So right before he can really get into how he's feeling going into his match with Joe, here comes Adam Cole putting his nose into people's business. And he's telling Roderick not to get into this match with Samoa Joe because Samoa Joe might actually snap his fucking neck. And Roderick is like, bro, so now all of a sudden you care about my neck? My neck been fucked up for like 2 months now. Where have you been? And he's like, you know what? Don't even worry about me. I got my homies here, the Kingdom. So we don't do this whole fake friend shit. And honestly, I totally agree. Where's Adam Cole coming from all of a sudden acting like he cares about what's going on with Roderick? So next we have Tony Schiavone in the ring, and we have Don Callis and Takeshita coming down. They have that painting in the middle of the ring that's covered that is supposed to unveil. That's supposed to show who Takeshita's next opponent is going to be. Now, I'm kind of disappointed that Don Callis isn't getting booed out the building like how he has been getting in the past, especially after attacking Kenny with that screwdriver. I'm just wondering why that whole thing died down or whatever, especially after Takeshita just beat Kenny Omega basically twice. I don't know what's going on with that, but either way, they have a nice little segment here. Once they unveil the painting, we see it's Don Callis standing off on the side, and then we have Takeshita with a sword in his hand attacking Kota Ibushi. So that is going to be the next match for Takeshita against Ibushi, and that's going to be on Wrestle Dream on October 1st. So I'm really excited to see where that brings us. But yeah, why did the whole thing die down for Don Callis getting so much heat? That, I don't know. So next we have Bryan Danielson with the BCC. Bryan is like, look, Ricky, Big Bill, we want a tag team match with you guys on Collision. But it's going to be Bryan and Claudio versus Big Bill and Ricky. We have Moxley, who's not going to be in that match, which what I thought was going to happen initially. But Moxley has a match with Rey Fenix next week on Dynamite for the international title. And out of the blue, here comes Rey Fenix, who is really upset, obviously, for getting attacked by BCC before All In. And he is all fired up, ready to fight. We have referees and everybody trying to keep him away from BCC. And then once that kind of clears out, here's Eddie Kingston, who had been there probably for God knows how long, just staring at Claudio Castagnoli. And I'm just like, whoa, this is creepy. And he's like, look, Claudio, one more week before our match, and I'm so excited to see which one of these guys is going to end up winning and holding both titles. Right after that, we have Renee Paquette with Hook backstage, and in a pointless little segment, Orange Cassidy comes out. They both call each other great champions, and then Orange Cassidy says that he's really, really tired. Yeah, I don't understand what the point of that was. They're just keeping him on TV. Like he said, every week he's going to be out and basically do nothing. Now, up next, we have the Fatal 4-Way match with the ladies. Winner will face Saraya for the women's title at Grand Slam. So we had Hikaru Shida, Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, and Toni Storm. I was expecting so much more with this match. It's to be the #1 contender for the women's title. Like, I felt like these girls were not fighting for anything, you know? I just didn't like it. It would kind of slow at times. Now, we do have Toni Storm, who's keeping in character here, and what she's doing is pretty much letting the other 3 girls fight, and whenever she can steal the pin and go for it, she'll try and do that. And I didn't mind that, but the pacing of this match was really slow. It just didn't feel like something that these girls are fighting for it to be next in line for the title. Just felt like a regular fucking Wednesday night, and I just didn't like that. I was expecting more. Toni Storm does take the win, which I did expect since we do have a storyline going on with her and the Outcast. She ends up pinning Britt Baker. Now, after that match, Saraya says that she's proud of Toni Storm for getting that opportunity, but either way, she's going to end up taking the win next week and retaining the title. I just wish that they would just give us so much more, so much better than that match that we end up getting with the girls. They just need a lot of help. Next up, we had Les Sex Gods in the ring. Now, we have Chris Jericho, who had put on a video package showing his and Sammy's best moments together, and they had the cheesiest best friend music playing in the background. All that was cute and all. And, you know, we have Sammy who's like, look, you know, I love being a chance to gotten to be with you in the ring as partners and being part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. However, I'm not here to be Chris Jericho's sidekick. I want to be the next Jon Moxley. I want to be the next Bryan Danielson. I want to be the next Chris Jericho. I don't want to be beside Chris Jericho. And he says that at Dynamite Grand Slam, he is going to beat Chris Jericho, and then they can continue their quest as, you know, looking for the tag team gold or whatever. And all that was cool or whatever. And they shake hands, and then Chris Jericho's like, look, I'm going to beat you like I've never beaten anyone else before, and I'm going to end up winning that match. This was a really strong promo. However, this went on for too long, and you know it's going on too long, especially when you're not really getting any type of feedback from the crowd. The crowd was pretty dead here. This is the same thing that happened the last time these two were on the mic. It's not that what they're doing isn't great. For whatever reason, they're just not getting that type of live reaction that I do think that they should be getting. If anything, I probably would have made this like a pre-recorded segment between the two of these guys, or maybe a sit-down interview or whatever, something that would have hyped this up a little bit more, because them being in the middle of the ring doing this promo kind of didn't do it justice, but they did do a really great job. Last week, after MJF had got attacked by Samoa Joe, we had the doctors taking a look and making sure if he's okay, giving us a medical update on our champion. And the doctor says that he's going to have to sit out another week and won't be able to come back into the ring until Dynamite Grand Slam. So MJF is excited that he does not have to get in the ring and doesn't have to do anything at all. Now, I don't believe that champions have to defend their titles every week, but he does have an opponent like, you know, Samoa Joe or Roderick Strong to go against at Dynamite Grand Slam. So if he sat out another week, that doesn't bother me. But then here comes MJF showing us that he has a degree from Steiner University, going into the mathematical probability of him winning his match against either Roderick Strong or Samoa Joe, basically letting us know he's going to retain the title next week at Grand Slam. And you know what? I pulled out my notepad and my pencil trying to make sure that the math was mathing, but I think I should stick to what I know, which is pro wrestling, because I don't know anything about math. Up next, match of the night for me, Brian Cage versus Hangman Adam Page. Now, I was cracking up when Hangman comes out. You guys know that they always have that little banner on the bottom that says their name and the wins and loss records and all this bullshit. And right above Hangman's name, it says, does not swerve when he drives. For whatever reason, that made me fall off my damn bed. I was laughing. I thought it was absolutely funny. I normally don't even look at that stuff, but it just caught my eye, and I just happened to see it, and I thought it was pretty clever for him to put that on the screen. Now, this was a really great match, and I wasn't expecting too much here because we already seen these two guys go at it twice before. So I was like, they're going to have to do something to really stick out from the other 2 times that they've been in the ring. And I really, really enjoyed this. This was better than all the other matches on the card for me. There is something about a big man doing a moonsault that just makes me feel so great. I just love seeing Brian Cage in the ring. He does things that a lot of guys his size don't normally do. So I'm usually thoroughly impressed with Brian Cage when he's in the ring. Now, we do have, not too long into this match, Swerve music plays and Swerve comes out. Thank God he does not physically get involved, but he's watching from the ramp to see what's going to end up happening. I'm pretty sure he's obviously looking on to see Brian Cage take this win, but unfortunately, Hangman ends up taking the win. which I knew was going to end up happening, but they give us a really great match here. So in my opinion, I didn't really care who was going to win. What really matters moving forward is what's going to happen between Paige and Swerve. So after that match, we have Hangman who gets on the mic, and whatever he said ain't any importance. But then Swerve goes on and say, you know what, you and me at Wrestle Dream. And it's official. We have Swerve versus Hangman Adam Page at Wrestle Dream. So there's going to be a really interesting matchup between these two guys. We do have a few more weeks in between. So I'd love to see how the story continues in between that time. Now, from there, we have Brian Cage that attacks Hangman. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him getting more of a beatdown. But then, while that's happening, we have Prince Nana who comes in the ring, and he's doing that ridiculous dance once again. But he doesn't realize that the Young Bucks have came in the ring, and they're helping their bestie Hangman Adam Page. They already done took out Brian, and now they're waiting for Prince Nana to stop with his dance before they go ahead and give him a super kick. And yeah, once he turned around, he does get that double super kick. And I'm just like, you know what? I could have done without seeing the Young Bucks tonight. So next we have Renee Paquette backstage with Daniel Garcia, and she's asking him what he thinks about Sammy and Chris Jericho's saga going on. And I'm just thinking, wait, why is she asking him about that? Like, what's that got to do with him? And then he goes and say, well, why aren't you asking me about me and what I got going on? And you know what? He's absolutely right. He should be worrying about his own thing. But then here comes Uncle Don, and he is scouting for new members for his family. And it looks like he got his eyes on Daniel Garcia. But Daniel Garcia does that little dance in front of him and ends up walking away. And Don Callis went to go follow him. Maybe we might see him join Don Callis' family. Who knows? Now up next, we have tag team action. Matt Menard, Angela Parker versus Darby Allin and Nick Wayne. Let me just say this right now. This match is a skip, okay? You know, A for effort for everybody. Darby and Nick Wayne end up taking the win. Y'all already know. Why do I have to see? As much as I love Darby, I really do like him a lot. Why do we have to see him on every show? It's like Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, pay-per-views. It's like, this guy's already beat the fuck up already. We already know that. But he likes coming out in the ring and doing all this stupid stuff. Cool. But it's like y'all overdoing it with the whole Darby Allin thing. Like, I feel like we didn't even see Orange Cassidy as much. He is just on every single show. And it's just like, I know they're trying to do whatever they can to help push Nick Wayne, but they're using Darby so much that it's kind of annoying to see him out so much. And I just wasn't feeling it. But anyway, during that match, we had Christian and Luchasaurus come out. Christian's on commentary. After the match, Christian is letting Nick Wayne know that he was in his mama DMs and checking out her Instagram. And he asked for a special request of, you know, pictures because she don't got enough bikini pics or whatever. I'm not mad about Christian being there. I do think that he's really helping and he's doing the heel thing or whatever. He ends up saying, you know what, his team ended up taking the loss with the coffin match or whatever. But that's because he didn't have his best partner with him, which is Luchasaurus. So next week, we're going to end up is it next week? Well, whatever it is, we're going to have Christian and Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin and Sting. And I'm just like, ugh. Can we just have another week without Darby Allin? Y'all doing the most. All right, you guys. Main event time. Samoa Joe versus Roderick Strong. Winner will win the tournament and go against MJF for the Triple B at Dynamite Grand Slam. And yes, the predictable thing did happen. Samoa Joe ended up winning. Not one time during this match, not even a slightest possibility that I think that Roderick was going to end up taking it. Now, I said that way before the tournament actually took place, that Roderick, it would have been great for Roderick to take this win. This would have definitely helped elevate his AEW career, which hasn't truly taken off in my eyes. So I thought this would have been a really good thing for him, even though I felt like when he does, if he would have faced MJF that he would not win the Triple B, but this will still be a good thing for him. But that didn't end up happening because Samoa Joe ends up getting into this storyline and made things so much more interesting. And I know what people would prefer to see is Samoa Joe versus MJF. So he ends up taking the win. And honestly, the way things have been going for Samoa Joe since he's been in AEW ROH, he's been absolutely indestructible. He's been taking nothing but wins and showing so much dominance that, you know, next week when he ends up getting in the ring with MJF, if he actually wins, that is so believable. Like, anyone could believe that Samoa Joe would get in the ring with MJF and actually win. So I'm really divided in what's actually going to happen next week in that match. But either way, congrats to Samoa Joe. But we still have some more drama. There's 5 minutes left of the show after that match was over. So there's 5 minutes left, and I'm just wondering, what are we going to do with the rest of this time? Now, Samoa Joe, he makes a few comments onto the mic about how he's going to end up going into MJF's yard, which is New York, next week, and end up taking that title away from him, drops the mic, and leave. And then we have the Kingdom in the ring with Roderick Strong. They're trying to put the neck brace back on him or whatever. And out of the blue, here is Adam Cole coming out from the back. And I'm just like, okay, that's weird. You have not tried to be of any support to Roderick this whole time, but all of a sudden you coming out. And when Roderick Strong realized that Adam Cole has actually came out, that's when he decides to put on a theatrical performance and act like his neck is like damn near broken. And he just drops himself on the mat and he's screaming in pain and all that stuff, calling out for Adam and everything. So then the doctors and the referees and everybody coming out with stretchers and everything to take him to the back to get a further look at him. And Adam Cole looks concerned. He thinks that, you know, Samoa Joe probably finished the job and broke his fucking neck or whatever. And the whole time, Roderick is screaming, Adam, Adam, I can't see you. Where are you, Adam? And I'm just like, bro, your eyes is closed. If you open them, you'll see where he's at. This whole thing was so dramatic or whatever. They end up taking him to the back. And while they're trying to take him to the back, Adam is trying to get close to Roderick, but the Kingdom won't let him get close. They kept pushing him back and they're saying, get away. You're not a real friend. You've done enough. Just get away. And while they're taking him to the back, Adam walks up the ramp so he can try to get to Roderick a different way. And here comes Samoa Joe, snatching him up, putting him in a coquina clutch. And Joe is talking onto the camera, telling MJF, I'm going to take everything that you love away from you, starting with Adam Cole and then the Triple B next week. I can totally believe Samoa Joe actually taking the title away from MJF. It's not as predictable. If that would have happened, that would actually be insane. But I do think we're going to get a great match between MJF and Samoa Joe next week. But I'll be honest, I feel like how I'm describing the way the show ended sounds great, but how it happened wasn't strong enough. I see what they're going for, but you have to remember you're ending a show off, and then your next show is supposed to be your really big show, Grand Slam next week. So the way they ended it was not as strong as it should have been. So I kind of didn't like it, but I saw what they were going for. I feel like the way I'm talking about it made it a little bit more interesting. But either way, the show was all right. I'm pretty sure we're going to get a really great show next Wednesday. I forgot to mention that they said that we're going to get Jade Cargill versus Chris Statlander on Rampage. Y'all couldn't do this for Collision? Like, why are we doing this for Rampage? Honestly, I don't know. Either way, guys, thanks for watching my review. If you did not check out Dynamite, go ahead and check it out. If you got 2 hours to spare, I'll be back tomorrow with Ring of Honor. Bye.